A reading from the Gospel of Luke. Now Jesus was teaching in one of the synagogues on the Sabbath, and just then there appeared a woman with a spirit that had crippled her for 18 years. She was bent over and was quite unable to stand up straight. When Jesus saw her, he called her over and said, "Woman, you are set free from your ailment." When he laid his hands upon her, immediately she stood up straight and began praising God. But the leader of the synagogue, indignant because Jesus had cured on the Sabbath, kept saying to the crowd, "There are 6 days on which work ought to be done. Come on those days and be cured, and not on the Sabbath day." But the Lord answered him and said, "You hypocrites! Does not each of you on the Sabbath untie his ox or his donkey from the manger and lead it away to give it water? And ought not this woman, a daughter of Abraham, whom Satan bound for 18 long years, be set free from this bondage on the Sabbath day?" When he said this, all his opponents were put to shame, and the entire crowd was rejoicing at all the wonderful things that he was doing. Powerful story from the Gospel of Luke, where Jesus interrupts his teaching in the Sabbath because he sees a woman who is being bowed down, who's being weighed down by forces other than those forces of life, love, the forces of the one who created her. He sees her, calls her up and says, "Stand up straight, you are healed." And this, of course, is a wonderful event in her life. But also, it's interesting that the weight of the story sort of lies in the crowd's response. Of course, the synagogue leaders respond to this miraculous and wonderful liberation of this woman from that which has weighed her down for 18 years. They respond to that by turning and lecturing the crowd and saying, "Look, you've got 6 days that aren't the Sabbath to present yourself for healing. Do it then. Don't mess up the Sabbath day. We're busy." And then Jesus, of course, rebuking that point of view, and then the crowd rejoices for what Jesus did, for Jesus setting them straight, and for all that Jesus was doing. And I think this is a wonderful, compact, such a rich little story that helps us to remember the Sabbath. What is it for? The Sabbath is for the people of Israel. It was instituted so that they as a group would band together and not allow themselves to be just spent from morning till night with no time, that they not be exploited by economic interests of their time, that they should gather and simply gather together in some ways almost as a union and say, this is a day that we're carving out and saying, this is a day where we gather as a people, where we gather as individuals, where we gather and honor not only our God, but the person that God has made me to be, giving time and space in solidarity with one another for that space to occur. And like so many things in our human systems, in our life, we take a principle like that and somehow can get it a little bit turned around. And Jesus is correcting them and saying, look, the Sabbath is so that you all can rest and remember your relationship to God. It's for you to have a rest. It's not for God to take a rest from being present in the world. There is no place where God is not. There is no time where God is not in human history. And the people rejoice at this breaking through where Jesus says, most important is this daughter of Abraham who has suffered for 18 years. Should she not be made well by the one who has come to bring life and bring it abundantly? So may God help us in our lives this day and going forward in our collective life as members of communities of faith, wherever we find ourselves, that we remember what our community of faith is for. It is to strengthen us, our solidarity with one another, our openness to God in our life. It is not to enshrine some sort of human-made negative zone where nothing can happen. Not even God's healing is welcome here. It is a place where we are to most welcome God's healing in our life and in the lives of others. And so may our communities of faith reflect that understanding, and may we find ourselves always open to God's activity in our lives and in the lives of others, welcoming it, cherishing it, and indeed, as the crowd did here today, celebrating all that it is that God has done for us. And may God bless you on this day, and may God bless and keep you this day and always. Amen.